Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a concept that honestly feels a little bit like modern magic, but it's really just a brilliant, highly logical business model, building a software as a service, or SaaS, business. Our main goal today is to completely demystify the process of building software that people actually want to pay for every single month.
I mean, just imagine that for a second. What if you could build one small software tool to solve one specific problem, and then charge people every single month to use it? You don't need some massive corporate team. You just have to solve a real, painful problem online. That right there, that's the real magic of generating online income with a SaaS.
Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to walk chronologically right through the life cycle of a SaaS business. We'll start with the micro SaaS mindset, move into finding problems and building MVPs. Then we'll look at the pricing and infrastructure reality, and finally wrap up with retention and recurring responsibility.
All right, let's dive right into part one, the micro SaaS mindset.
So before we even touch code or talk about customers, we've got to shrink this intimidating idea of a tech startup down to a much more manageable size. SaaS, which by the way stands for Software as a Service, is all about providing access to software over the internet, usually through a subscription. Think back to how we used to buy software. You drive to a store, buy a literal physical disk, and install it on your hard drive once. Today, everything lives right in the browser, and you pay as you go. It completely changes the relationship you have with the user. Now there is a massive misconception out there. People hear SaaS and their brands immediately jump to giant tech behemoths like Salesforce or Adobe. But the reality? It's so much more accessible than that. You're really just building a specific workflow tool. It could be an appointment reminder for a local dentist, a super simple invoice generator for freelance writers, or a customer tracker for dog walkers. You don't need 100 features. Your only goal, literally, the only thing that matters is solving one painful problem better or just more conveniently than whatever the alternatives are.
Moving on to Section 2, Finding Problems and Building MVPs. Okay, let's get our boots on the ground. The most interesting thing about these first steps of development is the order of operations. Step 1 is talking to potential users. Notice how write code isn't anywhere on this list yet. You absolutely have to find a real, painful problem before you build a single thing. So, you identify repeated manual tasks. You study the existing tools. And hey, if there's already competition out there, don't panic. Competition is actually a great thing. It proves people are already opening their wallets to solve this problem. Your job in Step 4 is simply to find a clear difference. Maybe your tool is way simpler to set up, maybe it's cheaper, or maybe it's specifically tailored to one niche industry.
Now, getting started is definitely easier than ever right now thanks to AI, but let's have a quick reality check here. AI reduces the technical barriers, sure, but it absolutely does not remove the need for actual software engineering. AI coding assistants are incredible for whipping up prototypes or spotting bugs, but the code they generate can totally contain security vulnerabilities or just plain bad logic. Human review is absolutely crucial. You have to test your application carefully, especially if you're planning on actually taking people's hard-earned money.
So when you finally sit down to build, you have to laser focus on your MVP, your minimum viable product. This means your software contains only the core features required to solve that main problem. If you're building an appointment management SaaS, you start with customer records, scheduling, and reminders. That is the whole shebang. You do not need 10 different app integrations, some crazy advanced AI chatbot, and a custom mobile app on day one. Every single extra feature you add just introduces more bugs and delays your launch. Build the core, launch it, and learn from real users.
All right. Let's talk numbers in Section 3, Pricing and Infrastructure Reality.
This is where we cross the bridge from having a neat little MVP to running an actual functioning business. Let's anchor this abstract idea of recurring revenue to some hard math, 49,900 rupees. If you decide to charge your users 499 rupees a month and you manage to get just 100 customers to subscribe, boom, that is your monthly theoretical recurring revenue. Sounds pretty amazing, right? You build the thing once, and this very healthy income stream just rolls in month after month.
But wait, we need another reality check, because revenue is definitely not profit. That beautiful 49,900 rupees gets eaten up real fast by the infrastructure you actually need to run the thing. You've got hosting, databases, and payment processing fees. And if you're using AI features, those API costs, which are basically the digital bridges that let different softwares talk to each other, those can spike wildly as usage goes up. You have to religiously track your cost per user. Otherwise, you might accidentally create a tool where your heavy users actually cost you more to support than they're paying you. No way you want that.
And speaking of things you absolutely cannot skimp on to save a few bucks, I really want to emphasize this point. You must treat security and data privacy as a core feature, not just something you tack on later. You have to protect passwords properly and validate user input from day one. If you're a non-technical founder and you're using no-code tools to build your SaaS, please consider getting some qualified security help before you start handling anyone's sensitive information.
Which brings us to our final act, Section 4, Retention and Recurring Responsibility. This right here is the true climax of the SaaS lifecycle, actually keeping those customers you work so hard to acquire. The secret? Getting users to see the value of your product instantly. Let's take that hypothetical invoice generator again. A rapid onboarding flow is everything. By minute 1, they're adding their business info. By minute 3, they've created their first customer record. And by minute 5, they've generated their very first invoice. The faster a user experiences the core value of what you built, the much stronger the chance they're going to stick around. If they sign up and they're just staring at a confusing dashboard wondering what to click next, they're gone, probably forever.
And when they do leave, you run headfirst into a dreaded problem in this industry: customer churn. Imagine you hustle incredibly hard to get 100 new customers. But because your product is a bit confusing or maybe kind of buggy, you lose 30 of them every single month. That is just exhausting. Finding brand new users just to replace the ones bleeding out of your bucket becomes this constant uphill battle. Honestly, retention is arguably your most important SaaS metric. Simply put, a better product naturally reduces churn.
Now, to keep that funnel full in the first place, you don't need to go burning cash on expensive advertising. The best SaaS marketing out there is often just content marketing. You're teaching people how to solve their problems through tutorials and SEO, which is really just optimizing your site so search engines can easily find you. But what's even more of a game changer is targeting highly specific niche groups. Instead of building some generic project manager for literally everyone, build one specifically for, say, freelance graphic designers. When your messaging is that incredibly clear, the right customers will instantly understand the value. A lot of people are drawn to this model because of the automation. And don't get me wrong, it is a huge advantage. You can automate the account creation, the monthly billing, the reporting, the whole 9 yards. But you can't completely disappear. Software requires constant maintenance, updates, and support. When the app goes down, and trust me, it will go down eventually, your customers are going to expect you to be there to fix it. A SaaS has to be treated like a real, living, breathing business.
Which brings us perfectly to the defining takeaway from our source material today. I absolutely love this quote. Recurring revenue comes with recurring responsibility. The absolute flip side of getting paid every single month is that you actually have to deliver value every single month. That's exactly what makes SaaS so incredibly powerful, but it's also exactly what makes it a uniquely challenging beast.
So, I'm going to leave you with this question to chew on. Are you ready to find just one painful problem and build the absolute smallest useful solution for it? The tools are out there, the technical barriers are literally lower than ever, and there are countless little workflows just waiting to be optimized. So get out there, talk to users, test those ideas, and just start building. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep building, and keep your focus on the solutions that actually matter.